We would like you to now meet our poster child, who in 1970 and 71 worked his little heart out to help us do our thing. Scotty Swift died January the 2nd, 1983.
Cottage Grove, Oregon, a picturesque, quiet town nestled in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains. The town where Scotty Swift was born and raised. Many of you knew and remember Scotty, a very special person. For those of you who didn't, well, this is also for you.
I have known Scotty for quite a few years, and the thing that impressed me about him is this matter of compassion that he had for other people. And even though he didn't live very long, his life was short, but it's not so much how long we live, it's how we live and the quality of life that we live.
As a little boy, Scotty Swift tugged at the heart of a nation. One of 3 sons, all with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a deadly disease of the muscle that takes its victims prematurely. Scotty was the tow-headed, smiling face that appeared on muscular dystrophy posters across the United States. He was proud and thrilled when named National Poster Child for the Muscular Dystrophy Association back in 1970 and 71. His mom and dad remember it well.
They wanted to have Scotty to be the National Poster Child, so they came and made arrangements and all, and asked us to bring him to New York. He was excited about that.
Remember one time we was walking down the street in New York and somebody said, "Hello, Scotty," and it kind of made him mad because he didn't know nobody there, and he didn't know who knew him.
MDA kept Scotty busy as its junior Goodwill ambassador, and another MDA ambassador became Scotty's hero and pal.
Well, the first time we met Jerry Lewis was down at in Hollywood at one of the studios.
Well, Jerry had grown a beard, and Scotty had not seen any pictures of Jerry with a beard. And the first thing, it just seemed like they were really drawn together.
And then came Scotty's greatest thrill and proudest moment, Jerry's surprise visit to march in their annual parade.
Scotty made this house in school. He designed it and drew the blueprints. And this was a project that took him the whole school year. It quite a bit of work for a boy with muscular dystrophy.
Bill is proud of his son. There are others that were proud of Scotty, too.
Classes. He's had architecture drafting under me.
He seemed to have so many handicaps, and yet he didn't seem to let it get him down. He didn't seem to dwell on any part.
He had fears like anybody else. He also had courage, and I think that...
was shy, but he enjoyed being teased a little bit. And in my
Scotty and my other brothers, I never really felt like they were handicapped.
Scotty's pastor, Wayne McConnell, was there at the end.
And I still can't forget the way that Scott faced his own death. I remember that his deepest concern was not for himself, but for his mother and his dad and his sister.
All of our boys were this way. We had 3 of them, and each one added just a certain part of their lives to our home, and I think that we were the ones that were enriched.
He was more ready to face death than sometimes I think people are ready to face life.
And so it was. Scotty Swift, born 1962, died 1983. Gone at the age of 20. A short life, but more rewarding than for many of us.
Fitting tribute to a very courageous, beautiful, beautiful child, Scotty Swift. I miss them all when I lose them. And you forget after a while. I would like you to meet the very strong parents of Scotty, who are very, very good people. They make the best fried chicken I ever had in my life. And they dealt with their sons and the problem better than anyone I've ever seen in my life. I am proud to present Mr. and Mrs. Bill Swift right here. Suffice to say, this is the telethon because I live a portion of my life with the Swifts. This is not airtime, put on some makeup and a tuxedo and face the people Labor Day. We've got to get you to understand that this battle is constant. That's not to say, isn't that wonderful? Jerry runs to Cottage Grove, Oregon to see a dystrophic child. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we care to such a degree that I don't give a damn where it is you gotta go. Go if you can get something good out of it. So we took a child we knew we were gonna lose, and we gave him the best damn time you ever saw a kid have in his life. But now I got the parents who haven't got the child anymore. And all I'm doing here for the balance of this time is to get through to the American people, the some 100,000 people, and saying to you, I don't want you in my audience as Mr. and Mrs. Bill Swift. I don't want Verlene and Bill to be here for this reason, so that I can exploit them. They're really here because they care and hope that I do good stuff tonight. That's why they're here. Bill, thank you for coming. Berlin, thank you. God bless you both. Senator Jacob Javits is a leading spokesman for those who, like him, have been struck down by amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Here's MDA Vice President David Hartman with Senator Javits.
When you realized you had ALS, and knowing what that meant, knowing what is available to treat the disease, what was your reaction? What did you think about, down inside your guts about Jacob Javits?
Well, there was one redeeming feature. The doctor said it wouldn't affect my brain, and that's my biggest asset.
What about the progressiveness of it? How well are you now? How quickly does this go, or is it going?
It goes slowly, but of course it depends upon how bad you've got it, really. Our dear friend David Niven went very quickly for two reasons. One was his involvement in swallowing and digesting food and so on, and the second was it being a handsome, exciting, wonderful personality. It was a terrible blow to see that deteriorate, and he just couldn't live with it.
TRH, you have had this TRH therapy.
It offers some very temporary relief, but it's the first thing that's really come along that does.
How much fear have you had?
Many people fear living, and they're right. There's much more to fear in living. But I think that the philosophy of activity and unity with one's family and friends and fellow sufferers, and the hope that it can be improved, and that life, so long as it's lived with the determination to be useful, can be rewarding, are what cancels out that fear.
We hope that will be meaningful to you. It is 8:14 in the morning. We have 7,909,000.
We need a drum roll, a timpani. We have more.
I'm happy to hear that because
There
I
you
didn't
go.
want to read that number. Let's change it. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
7 years ago, we were just a typical American young family. My wife and I and two boys, ages 8 and 11 years old. So when the doctor told me that she had ALS, I just couldn't believe it. I asked him what kind of life she could expect, and his picture wasn't very pretty about how she would lose her ability to speak, her ability to move any limb in her body, and that she might lose her ability to breathe. She was 29 years old. We found out that she was also pregnant. Well, 9 months later, she did have a healthy, another third son for us, but by that time she was in a wheelchair. We arrived back home, and then I had to talk to my two sons to explain to them what was wrong with her mother and that she would not be getting well. She would not be able to get out like she was. She would not be able to play games with them, cook them their dinners, but she would still be there and she would love them as much as she ever did before.
When my mom first got sick, I kind of blamed her. I thought she was like getting back at me for doing something that I'd done, something that offended her or something, but I thought she was getting back at me. But when my dad sat down and he talked to me and my brother, I kind of realized that it wasn't her that was trying to get it back at me, but just something that happened. He told us that it probably, it was bad and it was going to get worse, and that she probably wasn't going to get better or anything. And first, I was kind of like, couldn't really believe it, because she was my mom and she'd always been okay.
Daily routine for me would be starting in the morning. I get up at 6:30 in the morning and prepare breakfast for the boys, get them up, get them ready for school. Say 8 o'clock in the morning, I would go to work. I might be there until 11 or 11:30 that night. I would come home after my activities and I'd prepare Marty for bed. That might take anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 or 2.5 hours to get her comfortable. ALS is a terrible thing to happen to somebody. The future for both people, it affects not only the victim, but the victim's family or the loved ones. I find it so difficult to realize that I still have someone here that I love very much that can't return it or give you a hug or return any affection that you give to them. Well, ALS isolates. It isolates the victim because they can't get out, they can't move around, and it isolates the victim's loved ones also. I'd like to read something that she wrote. She says that ALS was completely unknown to me for 30 years. No cure, probably 3 to 5 years to live. Now, 7 years later, I have hope. You don't get to choose how you're going to die or when. You can only decide how you're going to live.
We try desperately during the course of this program, ladies and gentlemen, to explain the disease, to explain the neuromuscular syndrome, the 40 neuromuscular diseases. We do that to the best of our ability. But in the videotape spot that you just looked at, that brings to mind something that really needs addressing. We know about the victim, we know about the dystrophic child, we know about the neuromuscular victim, but what about the families? What about the people? What about the children, the sisters, the brothers, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents? It is a vicious cycle, and it is something that everyone has to recognize, because we are all innocent bystanders right now. We could easily be on the short end of the stick. This program is primarily to help eradicate that entire syndrome. The victim, the parents, those that are affected, the people that are shattered. In some cases, the victims are nowhere near in the pain that those that love them are in. So what we're trying to do is inform. While we are informing, we are asking you to use your telephones to get those numbers to work. And at the same time, we're trying desperately to entertain you, and it's a very simple hook. We try our best to entertain you. We hook you with wonderful talent and wonderful people and wonderful names and great entertainers. And then when we get your attention, we hit you between the eyes. That's the premise of this.
I love the flowers, I love the daffodils, I love the campfire.
Camp is the place to get away. You get to know new people, make good friends. I think it's to be with other people who have a disability and to get to know them as friends. I've come every summer since I've been 7. I have a lot of close friends up here, and we share a lot together. As far as I can remember back in my life, I've always had braces on. I've had 2 operations in the last 6 years, and they've been rough. You know, it takes time to build your muscles back up after you've been sitting down. So maybe when I'm 18, I might have another one to have my ankles fused, so that there might be a chance that I won't have to wear braces. I'm not sure if I want to do that, because I can wear high heels now, and I can wear all sorts of shoes. The people around me, it's real hard for them to adjust to me, because they don't understand what's wrong with me and how it affects me. They think that I'm different because of my braces, and I think after they get to know me, they understand me better. It's getting easier to the point where if somebody doesn't understand me and they ask me a question, I can just answer it right off the bat. I have some real close friends who are always joking around with me. You know, I can understand their jokes. We'll be real close and stuff, and we'll have a good time. I think I'm going through a big change in my life at this point, is growing up and trying to find out who I am and what I am, and it's rough. I'm planning on going to college. I think if I meet a nice guy that I really like, I get married to him, and I might have kids if the doctors say it's okay. If not, I'd want to adopt, because I know there's lots of kids out there that need folks. In an hour, we're probably going to be packing up and saying goodbye. But I know a lot of the kids who don't want to go home. You get to make friends. You get to help other people. You get to know what it's like for other people who have MD, how they act and how they feel, and you kind of just share a bond. It's hard to leave. I think everybody gets really upset when you leave, and you kind of cry, and I don't know, it's just kind of growing up.
I love the mountains, I love the rolling hills, I love the flowers, I love the daffodils, I love the campfires. When the lights go out, boom-de-yada, 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 boom-de-yada.
Melissa Weber was in this studio yesterday while we were rehearsing, and she couldn't believe that she was part and parcel of this entire program. She's the most loving, most beautiful young lady you'd ever meet in your life. Exuberant, exciting. She has a vitality and an energy and a strong desire to live and live healthily. And that's what it's all about with all of my kids and with all of the adults that are suffering from so many of the neuromuscular diseases. Their attitudes, I think, is part of the astonishment. I live with this all year long, I spend time with so many of them all year long, and yet I am never, ever without amazement at their attitudes. They have the most fantastic capacity to be up and hopefully keep you up and not get you down because of their problem. They're a very, very special breed of exceptional human beings that God placed on this earth. And for those of you that watch and listen and believe all of that, we need you to call. We need the numbers to change. It's 10 after 7 in Las Vegas right now.
They can change right now if we get a temporal.
Ah, that's my man. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Roll it.
Change it now. Be ready to play it. Yeah, play it now, Louie. Aha. I don't understand how your back is to that tote board, and you always know.
But my front is to the man that knows.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'd been on the fire department for 24 and a half years. I become more and more aware that I couldn't do my job on the fire department. A lot of the fellows I'd worked with for this entire period of time, and I had a responsibility to them, especially in an emergency situation, to help rescue people.
The day that I had to leave the fire department was a very, very traumatic day for me. But my realization that I was going to have to leave started months ago. I started losing an awful lot of strength. And being a combat firefighter, you need your strength to do the job. And when I reached a point where I didn't think that I could perform my duties any longer, I went to the crew on this particular rig. And I told them individually that I was having a problem.
When he mentioned ALS, I knew he was in a world of trouble because I had a good friend of mine that died with it several years ago.
Made all of us realize how we could have the same thing happen to us.
And said, Chief, I've got to hang it up. And I looked at him in rather dismay and surprise. I says,
comes in and tells me that a doctor gives him 7 months to whatever to live is kind of shocking to you.
I'd always been a very strong individual, and I don't let things beat me. Here, we had a doctor that was telling us that I had a terminal type illness.
And we went in to see the doctor and sat down. He said, well, you have amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And I thought, God, that's wonderful. He doesn't have Lou Gehrig's disease. And then he said, that's ALS, or it's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
I can remember coming out of the doctor's office and going into the parking lot with my wife, and her and I holding each other and crying. What were we going to tell the family?
And all I could think about was he was in pain, and he was scared, and he felt like he was alone. And I had to tell him that he wasn't alone, and that there was a lot of people that were going to help him, and I was going to be one of them.
You're looking for that glimmer of hope through research, through the doctors, through some type of miracle that might come along that's going to get this thing stopped.
He sat there, and I just held him. And then he held me. He held me so tight. He's never held me like that before. He held me like he needed me, like he was scared to death. And for the first time in my life, it wasn't me needing him. It was him needing me.
But as far as looking to the future, when he wanted to retire, we had this idea that we'd be able to go and do, but if you don't have the money or time available, those things simply don't happen. We're sitting around waiting. And I guess we'll wait until somebody comes up with something to stop all of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Jim. Jim Gregson right here. Here's the man. Jim Grigsby. Jim, It takes a lot of courage to let us run that, and it takes a lot of courage for you to be here while we run it. We're delighted that you could be with us.
Well, Jerry, I'm delighted to be here. I want to take this opportunity to thank all those people that have sent in those pledges. Keep them coming. I want to thank you, Muscular Dystrophy Association, and especially the fire departments across the country. You know, I've been involved with muscular dystrophy and helped start the boot drive here in Clark County 23 years ago. And little did I know at that time that I'd be standing here today having this dreaded disease. But Jerry, with your help and all these people's help, we're going to beat this thing, and I'm going to be around to see it. Thank you.
You bet you are, Jim. God bless you. Thank you. I know you'll be as moved as I was by this family's story of faith and hope. Please watch.
The doctors told us that he had a disease that he'd probably only live to be 2 years old.
Conrad didn't crawl at a normal age.
And this really kind of devastated Michelle and I.
And that was very traumatic for us. It was like the end of our world.
I just wanted to spend time with him. I couldn't focus on my business. The bills piled up because I couldn't get the work out.
We felt guilty. We felt that it was something that we had done or something we had done wrong. We felt failure as parents, that we were unable to produce a normal child.
I turned to drugs to relieve some of my inside pain and hurt, and it didn't help any.
Robert took it really hard. He didn't talk to anybody about it. He just lent his shoulder for me and helped me get through it.
I wanted to leave my business to him. Just, you know, I was going to build a family business with him.
Robert just withdrew from the family and had a hard time explaining his emotions and kept everything inside and made us all feel that he was handling it okay.
I kept using drugs, and it got deeper and deeper because I didn't know who I was at that time.
Yeah, he was very depressed and withdrawn, and but put on a good front for everybody.
Caused lots of family problems. Michelle and I weren't getting along good together. Well, my life was a mess.
Even though he can't walk and will never walk, we're thankful for every day that we have with him and try to see to it that he is happy. Even though they told us it wouldn't be something drastic overnight, he would die. They said that the muscles in his chest would get weak, and if he did catch a cold and pneumonia set in, he would have a hard time clearing his lungs and he would just fall asleep.
I got a good outlook for Conrad. I got a good touch with God, and I know he's going to help. I know he is.
Yeah, I think there's hope. There's research being done every day, and I know that someday they'll find out why. And maybe there'll be something to stop the progression.
I love him. I love my son. He's great. And I'll be with him always.
Muscle disease affects not only my kids, it's very, very tough on the whole family. Finding cures for these terrible diseases means that we'll restore health and a happy future to all who share the burden. I would like to introduce to you now the family that you just saw, starting with Robert Sedequist, their children Conrad, Renee, and the lovely Michelle. This is the Sedequist family right here. Bob? All I can say to you is that it takes tremendous courage for you to be here to let us look at that and to hear about it.
Thank you, Jerry, for all your help. I'd like to thank MDA. I'd like to thank God, Caesar's Palace for putting this on for us. It's a wonderful thing. It's helped my life greatly. All you people that have been here that have donated already, all you people I know that are going to donate more, we need the help for the hospitals, the doctors, research laboratories. We're going to find a cure, and with your help, we're going to get it.
I think we will, Bob. I think we will.
And this is like people here in Las Vegas, all over the world. You want to make a bet? This is the best bet. You're a winner. You make this bet, you win.
You're right. God bless you, and thank you so much. Bob Sedequist and the family.
Terry?
Yeah.
This show, of course, is a mixture of moments like that and also moments of great joy when we get to look at that pledge board and see it roll. So let's hit a timpani.
Let's hit a timpani. Hit it. Turn it over. Give us a break. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. I am about to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, without question, as I said before on this program, and I'll say it for the rest of my life, the singularly most important and exciting entertainer in this country for the last 100 years of show business that I've heard about, Mr. Sammy Davis Jr., right here.
Will you stop that?
Okay, let's do it. We got a special thing for here. Oh, we're a couple of friends. A couple of friends are we. And once a year we meet right here with pride and dignity.
We're a couple of chumps.
As chummy as we can be. There's nothing I can't ask of him.
And he'll do the same for me.
We have one subject we would like to broach.
To make you call, we found a new approach. I would go to your neighborhood, but I don't know where you live.
I will promise not to holler if you promise that you'll give.
I would ask you in person, but I don't know you that well. So we'll do what we gotta do. Yes, we'll do what we gotta do, and you'll do what you gotta do. We can't tell. Hold it. At the risk of 40 years going down the drain, that is not dancing. That
I
is
have
jumping.
to go to the toilet. I have to go to the toilet.
To the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I usually do like that. Oh, we're a couple of guys together once again who entertain and act insane like any grown-up men.
We're a couple of pals who never disagree. We think it's smart to live apart in perfect harmony.
There is one subject we would like to broach.
Go ahead and broach it then.
To make you call, we found a new approach.
A new approach. So I would ask you to tango, 'cause I know you love to dance. I kiss your face in public, but it might start a romance. I would write you a letter, this is the truth, but I don't know how to spell. So we'll do what we gotta do. Yes, we'll do what we gotta do. And you do what you gotta do. We can tell. Yes, you'll do what you gotta do. We can tell.
Sammy Davis Jr. Look at that. They stand up every time this man walks up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Sam.
We would like you, ladies and gentlemen, to see something that we call the Telethon years. Please look to the screen and listen carefully.
Jerry asked me to talk to you all about my life since childhood with muscular dystrophy. He did this because there are very few adults who have managed to get through childhood with muscular dystrophy. When MD starts to destroy your muscles, as a child it begins so slowly at first you really don't know what's happening to you. But in a matter of a few months it gets worse at an increasing rate. In my case, I was okay in walking when I was 5 years old, but then I started to trip on cracks in sidewalks and little things, and then soon nothing seemed to work right in my arms or legs, and in 3 short years, I was in a wheelchair. But that's only the beginning. Muscular dystrophy never fails to get worse each month. You know, it's terrifying for any child to suddenly lose its health and be faced with a relentless, nightmarish attack on every muscle in your body. You become terribly frustrated and you want to give up. You know, you just don't know what you want to do next. It's sort of hard to sit here and talk to you about your feelings, but you realize as you grow older, the love and dedication and the sacrifice that your parents and your wife and family make to keep you going. I know, looking at my own parents in the past, that it was pure agony to watch their child wasting away in front of them. And that's true of every parent. I guess the difference today for the muscular dystrophy child is that they have Jerry Lewis to look to. I do a lot of traveling for United Airlines and I meet a lot of these kids. And I can tell you, he's like a god to them. And they know he's fighting to help and he won't turn his back on them. And that's giving them the hope to keep on fighting. You know, courage is born from hope. And hope is probably one of the noblest of human spirits. A child in a wheelchair fighting muscular dystrophy, to have that spirit, must have his own dreams for the future. That courage for these children must be respected, ladies and gentlemen, and those hopes must be achieved. Not for me, but for those children. My job really is to go through all of these painful memories and try to get you committed to erase this disease. You know, I've sat here for 10 years and talked about the subjective problems of a child going through this disease. Now I'm an adult, and I've managed to put the pieces together and build a life, which the others never had a chance to do. And you know, kids are the joy of your life, and our firstborn was a son, Rob. And he got married and had his first child was coming. Just before the telethon, the baby was born, and it had Wernicke-Hoffman disease. The baby was born and went right into a respirator. It was paralyzed from the neck down. Little Katie, beautiful little redhead. And the doctor said this wouldn't last more than a week. She'd get pneumonia and pass on. They all did. And she died shortly thereafter. And then I had to come out here and do my job for Jerry. And And as I told you last night, this is the first telethon I've done without Scotty Swift, who was the first poster child 10 years ago when I started this. And he died this spring. And I know that he and Katie are together in a place where there's no wheelchairs, no respirators. And you know, with your help, we can make this world that kind of place. God bless you all. Thank you.
We call those the Telethon years. We call them the Telethon years because I asked this friend of mine to stand, sit, lean, any possible way, get on that stage and bare your soul. Help me. Nobody knows better than Bob Sampson what this dread disease is like. There wasn't anything that I asked him to do that he did not do. Knowing full well, I knew in my heart he did it each time under duress. To talk about the loss of his grandchild was the coup de grace. There was nothing after that. I asked him to please come to the telethon this year and that I would not impose on his emotions or to ask him to hurt anymore. But I would like you to join me in thanking a great, fantastic friend who has given me the inspiration to fight. Bob Sampson. Thank you, George. Thank you. We love you, Bob. You're doing it for me again, whether you like it or not. Come on, let's talk. Come on, let's talk. Come on. Come on. I'm going to face an audience for psychology, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, he speaketh the truth. I left the stage last year after losing my granddaughter and little Scotty Swift that you all saw on the show early, who died last year before the show. And I said, Jerry, I don't have anything left in the barrel after doing this for 14 years. I'll come, I'll be moral support, I'll do anything I can, but just don't ask me to come up. And, you know, he made me do things over the last 15 years that I never thought I had inside of me to fight this disease. And yet, when I got up to the end, he knew he couldn't push me any further, and he put that film together, which I hadn't seen, Jerry. The film makes it hard. My mother's still alive. She's 80 years old. My dad's dead. It was a terrible blow for them to have me in the Depression years in Chicago in a wheelchair with a disease that nobody knew about because there was no Muscular Dystrophy Association. And I was literally, it was a poor neighborhood. I was literally raised in a fire station. So when Jack Gannon comes out here and talks about firemen, he knows that I know because firemen are number one in my life. I owe my life to them, really. And my family was very supportive, and as one of the speeches said, I put the pieces together and built a life, and I was going along very smooth. Until about 14 years ago, I was a vice president of United Airlines, and you go through a series of firsts, because when I grew up in the Depression, nobody went to college, so firemen found a way for me to get to college. Then when I got through law school,
I became the attorney for the Chicago Fire Department. Then after that, almost 30 years ago, I went with United Airlines and found out I had thousands of people who were working and right here tonight on these phones and all night with us across the country, United employees, without anybody asking them, we're going to beat this disease. But I had a very comfortable life 14 years ago until this man came to me, and you think you're you're on top of it. You're sending a big contribution to muscular dystrophy every year. And I met him for the first time, and he told me all about my life and how smart I was and how lucky I was and how everything I was. You know how that is. And then he looked me right in the eye and he said, "Don't you think it's time to start paying back?" Now that just unleashes all of the guilt you have from your childhood years, because I was the only one to survive this disease in the Chicago school system. Because in those days, without MDA, nobody lived through muscular dystrophy. No one knows why I did. He seems to think it's so I would do this. But Jerry, you know, this is my 50th year in a wheelchair. And beginning 14 years ago, I've never stood taller than I have being with you in this cause this way. And you know, earlier in the show we saw Bart Connor and the Olympic medal winners. So proud in our country, and I've been an activist for the disabled all of my life, as Jerry knows, and he wanted to transfer some of that energy to this, but we have the first disabled Olympics with the President of the United States opening it early this summer. Then the Olympics. And you know, I couldn't help but think that most of the dystrophic kids, like myself, couldn't even enter the disabled Olympics. So I wondered, you know, what's the parallel here? This country did great things with the disabled Olympics, a summer Olympics that we won more medals than ever before in history. And then it dawned on me that Chris and Shelley and all the rest of us, we're in an Olympics of our own. And, you know, we're not in the tumbling acts or the bars. We're far beyond the 26-mile marathon. We're in a marathon, all of us. Chris, everyone that you know with muscular dystrophy. And the prize in that marathon isn't a medal. If you can keep ahead of the others, it's survival. That's what you're racing against. You're trying to survive until they find a cure for this disease. And you know, that's where you all come in tonight. Someplace out there in America, which is the greatest country in the world, there's a dollar that's going to hire that scientist that's going to punch through this mystery and break through like they've broken through in other diseases. And it'll be a miracle for literally tens of thousands of kids who are running this race of survival. And I think that would be the greatest thing in the world if this is the year that this country could award an Olympic gold medal to a scientist that does that for us. And you know, with your help and a lot of prayers, I think we can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. You did it again. I called him a giant. It hasn't changed. You still are. And thank you, Bob, for most importantly, I want to thank you for just coming and sitting and copping out on me again. I want to thank you for that. Mr. McMahon.
All right, Jerry, I have something to announce, but prior to that, I would like to say that we need
a timpani.
A timpani.
Yeah, let's hear it. Turn it. Do it. Make it large. Yeah.
could get smarter, Jerry. Uh-oh, we better look out. All right, you've seen him on Oprah and Larry King Live. His books of poetry have been spotted on the New York Times bestseller list and on bedside tables across America. I know mine for sure. Now we want to look behind the poetry and into the heart of a remarkable young man who faces incredible challenges and always manages to find hope and beauty. Please meet Mattie Stepaneck and his mom, Jenny.
I am Mattie J.T. Stepaneck. My body has light skin, red blood, blue eyes, and blonde hair. Here they are.
Mattie has mitochondrial myopathy, a rare form of muscular dystrophy.
I was born with my disease. It's a mouthful to say, but it's also a big mouthful and heartful to live with.
After her children were born, Jenny Stepaneck learned that all four were affected by the same devastating illness, that Jenny herself had the adult onset form of the disease.
Mattie was born in 1990. He's the youngest of my 4 children and the only one to survive beyond early childhood.
As he endured his parents' divorce and the death of his siblings, Mattie came to know grief firsthand.
When his brother Jamie died, he was a preschooler, and I was amazed at how he played out his expressions of grief. And I started recording some of the things that he was saying while he played and explained to him that it was poetic. And that's where the poetry began.
I have a song deep in my heart, and only I can hear it. If I close my eyes and sit very still, it is so easy to listen to my song.
From grief came beauty and a hopeful vision.
In the future, my goals are to be a poet and a peacemaker. I want to travel around the world, teach peace through my poetry. I also want to be a daddy one day.
MDA Research is seeking a cure for Mattie's disease so all of his dreams can be realized.
I look at Mattie's life and I look at what he's been through medically, facing his own mortality, the loss of his brother, who he loved dearly. He's got a mother in a wheelchair. What he's been through and the challenges that he faces.
Mattie depends for his survival on equipment like his ventilator. Medical emergencies have brought him to the brink of death more than once.
In spite of that, he chooses to see his glass half full.
Sometimes I think, why me? But then I realize, better me than a little baby who wouldn't understand it, and it could possibly hurt even more. So I think, why me? And then I realize, why not me?
He knows that there may not be a tomorrow. He knows that even when he looks healthy, one equipment problem, one thing going wrong with his body medically, the odds are stacked against him. And that's a burden for anybody, particularly a child who loves life so much.
For Mattie and his mom, the future remains uncertain, but filled with love and hope.
To me, MDA is a source of hope. And even though I have to deal with this life-threatening disease, I am proud to be one of Jerry's kids.
I pray for tomorrows. I pray that Mattie lives to have children. I pray that I hold my grandchildren. But I pray even more than that, that whatever we're here on earth for, that we are given the opportunities to live out what our personal purpose is and to appreciate that.
No matter what the future holds, Mattie and his poetry will remain in the hearts of all of us.
If they would find a cure when I'm alive, I could live each day without pain and machines, and I could celebrate the biggest thank you of life ever. If they would find a cure when I'm buried into heaven, I could still celebrate with my brothers and sister there, and I could still be happy knowing that I was a part of the effort.
Wow. Please welcome the 12-year-old who's been captivating a nation and moi, I must admit. My husband's looking a little jealous. He's doing an amazing job as MDA's National Goodwill Ambassador from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Mattie Stepaneck, his mom, Jenny, and service dog, Micah, is with us as well. Please give Mattie a warm welcome, everybody. Hi. So, you're pretty excited to be here, huh?
I'm ecstatic.
You were jumping out of your chair a minute ago.
Indeed.
Indeed. See, I have to remember. Okay, you're 12, but you're really, come on, you can tell me.
I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? That makes two of us. I know that I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One thing is summer camp, MDA summer camp. We talk about that every year because it's something that all the kids get to go to. And I don't know if you want me to reveal this on national television, but you've got to tell the biggest prank that you pulled at summer camp.
The alarm clock one?
Yeah, the alarm clock one, against the ladies of the camp, I might add.
We beat the Wrens. And I know the Wrens are watching this, so...
No, wait, the Wrens are?
Yes, the Wrens are, the cabins are birds. We were the cuckoos. I fit right in.
And so you attacked the Wrens.
Well, we didn't really attack them.
You attacked their sleep.
Pretty much. What happened is, while everyone was at the dance, 3 counselors and a lookout kid went with alarm clocks and set them for 3:01, 3:02.
3 a.m.?
A.m.
3:02, 3:0.
3:0, and so on and so forth. So they'll go off every 60 seconds. They hit them in the beds, but so they weren't muffled. So 3 a.m., 3:01, they woke up the next morning, or at least they already were awake. And they tried to tape our door shut, but I caught them doing that, so instead they filled our shoes with shaving cream. But nothing will beat the alarm clock.
I know, pretty good prank, I might add. Yeah, look, yeah. I'm just warning you. They've been thinking about this, and they'll be thinking about it all year. And the girls will probably get you back, and I want a full report next year.
I know, but we're planning ahead.
Oh, you're planning ahead too. Jenny, we talk about camp and how wonderful it is, but the reason we're here tonight is serious, and it's important, and I know particularly for you, and for me as well, but on a different level for you. And I know that you had some special words you wanted to tell everybody who's watching.
I wanted to say that during the next 21 hours, you're going to see a lot of family stories, and it would be easy to look and say, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for them. And it is sad sometimes, but even more important is for people to look and see how far we've come, and see the hope, and see the success, and see how close we are to a cure, and what these children and adults with muscular dystrophy have achieved, are achieving, and who knows, one of our kids may be the one that actually finds the cure.
I think that's a wonderful thought, because you know what, if anybody could possibly do it, if you weren't working on the poetry, I'd put you in one of the science labs, Mattie, with a few test tubes.
Okay.
I know he's so game.
It could be dangerous.
It could be dangerous. Your mother says, no test tubes for Mattie. He's dangerous enough at camp. Hey, listen, you are phenomenal. I don't need to do this next little bit. I think you should take it over. I know you've been dying to get a hold of my microphone. So why don't you talk to not just America, but everybody in the world about what we're doing right now and what we hope to do.
The funds that you're sending are not just very important. They are a source of hope. And that hope turns into research. That research turns into a cure. True, that cure that is being worked on. It may not be in my lifetime, may not be in your lifetime. But if we stop raising money, stop celebrating life, stop keeping up the hope, and give up, there would never be a cure in anyone's lifetime. And that would be so sad. So please, remember the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Remember the faces that are on the top of the screen. And send some money, send some hope towards a cure. Thank you.
My Mattie is back. The young man that's 12. Clap. the young man who's 12 going on 52, a brilliant intermediary between this program and the public. He's been doing such marvelous work to help get this telethon in place. Mattie, are you having a good time tonight? Do I have a mic? It's a good question. Give me this. Give me that. Now you got a mic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you having fun tonight?
I am having so much fun. It's crazy, and I am just so thrilled to be here in the last hour with the big JL himself.
He's going to be the head of a network. He's rehearsing already. I love that, Mattie.
Thank you.
You remember what you said to me backstage at the firefighters convention in Las Vegas?
Yes.
You want to tell that?
Well, we talked for a couple minutes. Then Jerry had to go, sadly. So he leaned over and gave me a hug. And I said to him when he finally let go, that was the greatest hug I've had in my entire life. And it was.
A lot of people ask me, Mattie, I'm sure you know, a lot of people will ask me why I do what I do for my kids. It's a very difficult question because the answer is my own. It's private, it's personal. And I say to them, it's important that I do it, not that I say why. And the why isn't important. The importance is that I do it. So I want you to hear something that I have in my writings that I keep with me all the time. I shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. Your courage, I think, is what most people are so inspired by. They're inspired by the fact that you're a young man that got in trouble, that happened to be one of the victims of a devastating disease, yet you deal with it.
That's right.
You deal with it like an adult with an incredible intelligence, and moreover, you show this wonderful spirit that you embarrass a lot of people that are still upset that they can't get a cab. You let them know what life is about because of your presence and your courage.
Life is a gift, true. It's hard, and it's not always the easiest thing. But if it wasn't, you know what? The challenges in life are a part of our life, and that's how we learn. And some of us are meant to have a disease, and some of us, like you, are meant to help fight it. All of us have a reason, and we have to choose to always live our lives to the fullest. No one is better or worse than anyone else. We are different and beautiful. And Jerry, you are one of the wisest people I have ever met, with the comedy of 1,000,000 comedians, with the wisdom of 1,000,000,000 wise mystics, and more. And you know what? I think that between you and I, we have a heck of a life.
You bet we have. My crew is applauding. These cold, callous, dirty old finks are applauding. And when a boom operator applauds, you know it's something. Mattie, I'm going to do something I've never done before.
Before you do that, oh Chief.
I thought I had gas.
Check this.
Almost. I almost got it then, Mattie.
That's right. We need to blow it through the top this year, folks.
Get the song up. I'm going to do this like I've never done before. Arthur, we're going to be here. Arthur?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do this and dedicate it to you
Thank you.
and to all my kids, but I'm dedicating it to you and all of them. So you're first. First.
New York.
New York. Get my kite. Get my kite is good. What?
Can I interrupt for just a moment, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Arthur.
You have about 40 songs that you have prepared to sing. We don't know which one you want to do so. The band is now, they're sweating and they don't feel too good right
now. Vince knows what I'm doing. And now Jack Eglash, I would like to acknowledge my conductor, who's done a stupendous job of 22 hours of music, the Jack Eglash Orchestra. Get up, you deserve it. Get up, take a bow, you ham bones. You got it. Are you comfortable?
I'm very comfortable.
Okay. You got it, Bob. Now I got it, Bob. When you walk through a storm, keep your head up high. And don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on. Through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown, walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Thank you, Mattie. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Big night. Thank you.
Jerry, you always wanted to get $1 more?
Yeah.
Look at this explosion. Look what happened.